Welcome back to the channel. I take a look at everyday gear and how implementing that gear into your life can help you become a more eminently qualified individual. And today we're getting into a writing instrument from Confounded Machine. This is their EDC bolt. This is number 243, back from July of 2023. Now, I have featured a few different iterations of this pen on this channel, and mainly although I have loved the construction and the finish, there's been something about the fit that's been off, and it's really been driving me a little bit crazy because I want to love this pen. I want to support the maker. I want to find a variation that really fit with me, and I've been struggling to do that. I've tried the frag grip, I've tried the no grip, I've tried the ISO grip, and it's just something that I have not found the fit for me. So here is the signed insert from the maker. In this instance, we have a stone-washed finish, no grip, and this is the mini version. So what we're going to take a look at is how that compares to the full-length version and what the differences may entail. So here we go. Here we go. And just so we can make this official, we have a pen on the full-length size that is 5 1/8. And if we take a look at the mini, we are at 4 13/16. So it is a bit shorter. Why that's important and important to me is specific to the problem I was having, and that is when writing with this full-size pen, something about the way that the pen articulates in my hand while I'm writing, there is this internal rotation, and this particular bolt handle continues to knock against the inner web, thumb web of my hand. And not that it's entirely annoying, it is there, and it is a noticeable annoyance while I'm writing. Is it something with the way that I'm writing, or is it in the design feature? We're going to find out as that is pretty stiff. So a couple of features on this pen that I'm going to have to look into changing immediately is the refill. I'm waiting for an adapter. The adapter is going to be to convert this G2 Mini to a D1 adapter. So I do have some D1 adapters that I am fond of. And specifically, this is the one that's going to be replacing it. This is the Jetstream SXR 200 0.5 millimeter. And that's I'm just waiting to pick that up, I think Monday, and then we'll be able to come back and make that swap. So G2 Mini, I'm not a fan of this refill at all. I've had it in a couple other pens, and it's really been a drag. I don't like writing with it. There's something with the ink pulling towards the tip, and it just makes a mess. The tip gets inundated with some extra ink. It does not do well on the paper, and especially I do tend to write small, especially in my journaling, and it just becomes a problem. So this, I've not had the pleasure of having a pen with the purple spring. This is my first purple spring. Aesthetically, it looks cool. I like it. Let's put this back together and carry on with testing out the fit. Now, the finish is not one that I am particularly fond of. I'm not a stonewashed or tumbled stonewashed look. This clip is a very secure, solid clip. I also do prefer grip rings on the writing area. That is just an aesthetic that I do like. Wow, that's a tight spring. Wow. Now I guess that's the spring, because this spring, super loose. I do like that a little bit more. Let's see if there is a noticeable difference. Now, as much as I love the detail in this pen, the milling inside each triangle, the ano is beautiful. I love the color. Probably one of the best looking pens just sitting on my desk. Unfortunately, it's just super uncomfortable to write with, especially after 200 words. It's just not uncomfortable. It's just very uncomfortable. So I do not think this spring is going to work, just judging by the overwhelming difference in the diameter, a significant difference. This is not going to fit on, which is a problem. All right, so back to the original setup. That's a little disappointing. That is a pretty heavy spring. So a little underwhelmed. I had high expectations for this pen. All right, that seems to be cycling a little bit better. And this writing experience is not going to be improved. Just looking at how this is resting here, this is not going to be an improvement on the physical issue that I was having with the bolt handle on the ISO grip. This had the spacer. So I think ultimately what's really going to be sad for me is I just don't think there's going to be a model of the Confounded Machine that's going to work for me. It just may end up being, I've tried almost every model. There was 2 grip patterns that I haven't tried the ringed, and I haven't tried the fluted, but the dimensions of the pen, especially where this bolt action mechanism lies, is not, I don't think, changed. Certainly wasn't changed between the frag, the ISO, and the no grip. So I was thinking maybe with a different size, maybe we'd have a better luck, but I just don't know. Now, I will try using it this week to see how it actually works, but let me just compare the 2 of these to a very similar bolt that I have found to just work perfectly for me, and that is the Magnus version 1 Bolty. So for some reason, the way this one sits, it's not as pronounced of a bolt handle, has the grip rings, which I prefer, and it just seems to sit a little better. Maybe because it's a little lighter. Now again, these are all just personal preferences and how am I liking it. There's also something with this bolt pattern, this L bolt pattern, that does not sit well with the dexterity of my thumb. I always feel like if I was a lefty, this would be more of a lefty play. Let's take a look at the bolt path. Bolt path is, take a look at this bolt path. Are they similar? Are they the same travel? They appear to be the same bolt path travel. Trying to see if I can, without messing with the camera and trying to zoom in. Seem to be similar. Yeah, man, I wanted so much to have a solution, but this Magnus actually might be, unfortunately, for owning any confounded machine. This has a much shorter bolt path with that L pattern or reverse J pattern here. It's more of a J than an L, I guess. Much shorter. It seems to work a little better with my thumb dexterity compared to the longer bolt pattern with a more defined L than a little hook. You can't just hook it. It has to be a distinguished down and over. This is definitely angled a little bit more as a J. Makes it a little easier for my thumb to move that way. This I've always almost exclusively just fidgeted with as a lefty. This pen, however, is going to a new owner. One of my great friends is getting this, and it's how I acquired this. So a pen that I really love to look at, but just was not getting any use on a weekly basis. I mean, probably one of the most beautiful finishes and detailed milling inside of the pen. This is just really fantastic. Just a pen that I did not grab for all the reasons previously mentioned. The bolt pattern, the grip area is not the most comfortable to write with, especially with writing, and I do daily writing. And something with this handle continually rotating into internally rotating into the thumb web. This I don't notice it, or it doesn't happen, but because the bolt handle is smaller, I don't seem to run into the same issue. But what is with this? Now I do have a few options here. I do have a few options. I can send this out to get refinished into a high polished satin finish, which is what I would prefer. But I'm not sure if that's going to solve the problem of comfortability when writing. And that's really what it comes down to. If it's not going to be comfortable for me to write with, I'm not going to use it. And if I'm not going to use it, then I'm going to find someone else who will use it. I really wanted to be able to have at least one pen from Kurt and Confounded Machine in my collection, but maybe the timing's not right. Maybe it's going to take a pen in the future to get that done. I did message him, and he did tell me about some intentions on some different variants in the future, but we'll see what transpires about that. Until then, I think two things have to happen. One, I have to use this pen a little bit, so I will probably take it with me Monday to give it a shot with my morning journaling. And also Monday I will be getting, man, that is a rough transfer. That's a very pointy corner to catch around. This seems to be knocked down just a bit. This doesn't seem to be as pointy. Interesting. Now this pen was, I think, in the 700. Jesus, this pen was around the 700, 7 something, and this is 200. So there was probably some iteration changes. Again, it is a beautiful pen. Love the attention to detail. The clip is fantastic. Aesthetically, it's pleasing. The weight is good. I like the weight. The feel is great. It does have a little grippiness to it, which is cool. I don't know if I will lose some of that by putting a high polish finish on it, if the high polish finish is even something that is doable. I really have not looked into it. I did inquire briefly because when I had the most recent full-size frag grip, that satin finish was fantastic. That was really beautiful. I loved looking at it. Again, it was just a physical, and how it physically performed for me, that was the problem. Here we may have a couple of issues. We may have the bolt pattern. We may have the size, length where this bolt handle is. Not a huge fan of the no grip. This finish would have to be refinished, and I have to be able to have a workable adapter to get rid of this G2 Mini and replace it with the D1 refill. So there is a few hurdles. So this will be a to be determined if this is going to stay with me long term, or if we're going to make someone else extremely happy. But man, super appreciative that I was in a position to be offered to purchase this pen, because these are very rare. You do not see them come up. But I have been able to acquire some very rare pens, especially as of recently, and that's because of what I firmly believe is what I've been putting out into the community, doing my best to help people acquire and check off some of their acquisitions that they're trying to get. If I can help somebody get something they're searching for and they want to get, if I'm in a position to make it happen, I'm going to do it. I want to see people succeed. I want to see people get to experience something they're after. So I do everything I can. And in return, I believe that comes back to me. Firmly believe that. So I'm going to continue to do that. And if this doesn't work for me, I know there's several people that would love to add it to their collection for a multitude of reasons. And they will appreciate it. And if I'm not going to use it, that's what I'm going to do. Somebody else is going to be the beneficiary of it. I don't have anything in my collection that sits. It either gets used and used frequently, or it's going to somebody who's going to do that exact thing, put it to use. In any event, rambling a lot today, but first look, wanted to take a look at it, see if it was going to solve some of the potential issues, see what I was going to do with taking it to the next level to make it one that stays in the collection. So this becomes a to be determined, and we'll follow up with it. Hopefully in a week or so, I'll have some of these early obstacles overcome, and then we'll see where we are. But thanks for checking in. If you stayed all the way to the end, appreciate it, and catch you on the next one.